Hello and welcome to Fresno State Serves. I'm Matthew Broughton. This is a show about service learning here at Fresno State, and what we do here not only impacts Fresno State students, but also the Central Valley. Joining me today is Anna Hecker, and Sorrel Mallory. You are the founder, one of the co-founders and president of the Wings Advocacy Organization. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And Sorrel, thank you to you too as well. I know you, we go back, way back, and so I'm just so happy that you're here as well. So Anna, I wanted to go ahead and start off with you. For those who may not know what the Wings Advocacy Organization is, can you kind of give the viewers at home kind of a sense of what you do with your organization?
Sure. Our program is a community benefit organization founded about 4 years ago. We have two major programs. We have a furniture bank that provides donated home furnishings and new mattresses to families who are being housed after having experienced homelessness. And the second program we have is a documentation program to help homeless folks procure the documentation that they need to qualify for housing.
Perfect. And this semester is actually kind of special for not only you, but for you too, Sorrel. I know that this semester, our class, the MCJ 120 class, where all of this is going on, Fresno State Serves, and the 118S class, partnered with your organization and some other organizations as well, and the MCJ 159S class to kind of show some videos and various things about the different organizations, and yours included. Sorrel, I wanted to ask you, what was it like for you filming the Wings Advocacy Organization?
It was an amazing experience. This was my second service learning course, so I already knew what I was getting into, and I thought it was really cool that I can help an organization here in Fresno get their message out there. And I really enjoyed networking with them and filming them and doing budgeting and doing various activities that I can use out in the field when I get into freelancing.
And Anna, how was it like for you to be involved with students filming your organization?
You know, it was fun. I always enjoy interacting with the up-and-coming generations, and this whole media experience is new for me personally and also for our organization. We're, like I said, a young CBO. We don't have a PSA. We've never done any real multimedia work. So the hardware of doing this was really interesting, but interacting with the young students is always fulfilling and interesting, and I'm excited to see that they're excited about it.
And we were talking earlier before we went, live on the camera about just kind of your background. You told me that you're from Kansas and you spent some time in Southern California, and now you're here in Fresno. I wanted to ask you what kind of made you first want to move here and also get involved with the Wings Advocacy Organization or kind of co-found it?
We moved here over a decade ago, probably almost 15 years ago now, for a professional move of my husband's, and then ended up raising our family here. To be a new resident of Fresno and still being sort of learning the city, I didn't live downtown, and I wasn't really that familiar with some of the other parts of town until my kids were young. And as I started to get out more and more in the city, I started seeing the homeless problem that we have here in Fresno. And it concerned me, and it made me sad, and it made me realize that this city that I'd adopted, this isn't what I wanted for our city, either for the people who live here to have to experience that within their town, or for the people who are homeless and have them living in such an uncomfortable situation. So I sort of jumped in to find out more about it, met some like-minded folk, and long story short, we kind of sat around a table and came up with the idea for Wings.
And I think it's interesting too. I recently, like last semester, did a story on someone who was homeless, and just surveying, you see all these different types of people. You see families, you see single parents, you see couples, you see that kind of thing. What would you say is kind of are there different areas that they're being concentrated at? Because when I think of the homelessness going on, you kind of think they may be concentrated in downtown Fresno kind of area, but they could kind of be spread around in different areas, correct?
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that you learn, the more you learn about homelessness, the more you realize that every story is different. And I think most of us, when we say the word homeless, we have a picture in our head of of the chronically homeless who are on the street corner that are living on the street around the Poverello house. And my heart goes out to those people also. And we serve many of those folks. But what you may not realize is that statistically and anecdotally, and it's a fact, that a huge number of the homeless are actually families. Parents with children who are housed in substandard situations that are not, they're either on their way to being homeless or they're living in a place that's not fit for human habitation. And that's when the social service agencies get involved right away and get those folks into housing. So we served over 1,000 individuals in our furniture bank program last year. Almost 500 of them were children. Oh. So that speaks to me as a mom of 3. And when I see these kids know that they've been through a really traumatic time, we serve, the majority of our children are referred to us through the Marjorie Mason Center. So they're escaping domestic violence, and those families are classified as homeless as well. So a lot of tugs to my heartstrings to serve those kids who really need a fresh start.
Definitely. Just being able to go down there and get back, I think, is extremely, extremely important. And Cyril, I wanted to go back to you because you're part of a group that's filming this. And so what was your experience like? Because obviously you're filming it, but you're actually experiencing it as well. So I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts when you and your group were down there filming this project?
So when we first went to Wing's warehouse, I thought it was really amazing to see how much items they had in there and that they were taking in items and giving it to ex-homeless. I thought it was really interesting, and I love what they're doing because my grandpa has a nonprofit and he helps feed homeless people, and so I always had a heart for homeless or for nonprofits that give back to people in the community. So I really enjoyed learning with them and helping them out and getting their message out there, because I think what they're doing for Fresno is really amazing. And I think there's not any other agencies out there that do the same service that they provide.
And I definitely agree with that, definitely. And I think it's one thing to, it's one thing to see, but when actually you're experiencing it and giving back, it's a completely different story. So we actually have a video that we're actually going to throw up of kind of the organization and kind of various things. So we'll actually kind of see it together for just a second.
I'm excited to see it.
Cool.
When we founded Wings, the question that we asked was, what can volunteers do to really help the homeless in Fresno? More than just dropping off a bottle of water and a pair of socks. Affirming every human being's right to shelter, Wings engages volunteers to serve our homeless neighbors.
If they don't have any furniture and anything to cook with, they're not going to stay in their apartment. They're going to be back on the street.
Our goal is to fill those needs in supporting people who are homeless get into housing that are not filled by the normal agencies. And that's why we picked documents which couldn't be paid for, and we picked furnishings. We help early on by helping them get their documents before they're housed. We help at the DMV, they get an ID. If they need a birth certificate purchased, we pay for that. These are maybe people who wouldn't be housed because they didn't have the proper documents and didn't know how to get them or have the money to get them.
We receive an email referral from a case manager or a social worker, and then we contact them and we find out what they might need for their new apartment. That's how we then stage for them, and then we take the things to them, deliver them to their apartment.
Oh, well, it's better to have too many than
Okay.
too few.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay, so
Oh, you just have to-
yeah, that's good.
Besides the furniture that everybody needs, they need hygiene products, they need cleaning supplies, they need paper goods, and none of those are paid for by food stamps. And many of the people that are being housed for the first time are very low income, and they do get food stamps, but that doesn't cover any of those things. So they get all the startup items.
So when we go out to deliver, that is the best thing, is meeting the clients and seeing the smiles on their face and their gratitude for what we're doing, because they wouldn't know where else they would get this stuff.
I was very grateful to receive what I had got. Got a desk and, a lamp, fan, basic necessities that one takes for granted when they have a place. It was nice to see that people care, because one loses hope sometimes. And, here comes these people that are loving, giving, understanding, compassionate, and they're handing you stuff so your place can look good too.
We give them a little card with a stamped, self-addressed envelope, and we just let them know that if they'd like to let us know how they're doing and how this has helped them after they get settled, that we'd be happy to receive their cards, and most people actually do that.
They really are wings. They provide you flight when you're about to fall.
So what a lovely video. I mean, that's really, really heartwarming. And Sorrel, you and your group did an amazing job
Very well
showcasing
done.
the organization. So I wanted to ask you, Sorrel, how long did that video editing process kind of take you and your group to be able to produce a video like that?
Well, we've been working on that video this whole semester since the semester started. Editing took quite a while. I'll say like several weeks. And we had to shoot interviews. We shot, I believe it was like 3 interviews. We had to redo interviews. I think we did a really great job. And we planned out everything. I was the producer for the group, so I was in charge of making sure that each person in my group were doing the tasks that they needed to get done. And I think we did a really good job helping Anna and Wings get the message out there.
And how does it feel for you for an organization like this to kind of be a community-based organization, and does that have any value to you as when you're editing the
Definitely.
video and doing the project?
Definitely. I think it means the world to me because we have an organization here in Fresno that's giving back to our community. And again, I really enjoy helping organizations that help people in our community.
And I wanted to ask you to, you're you're one of the co-founders, you're the president, and in that video you're saying you're donating furniture items, there's food, there's other things that are kind of going on. But I wanted to talk about you for a second and see what would be your favorite part of your job, if you had to pick one thing that you like doing about your job.
I think my favorite part about the work that Wings does is one of the things I don't get to do very often because I'm the president of the organization and I have fundraising duties and administrative duties and I have a business background, so I can do that and I can keep the doors open. The very best thing is what Bev was talking about is the deliveries. When we take the deliveries out to the families or the individuals and we walk into their apartment, their empty apartment, and we literally see where they've been sleeping for the last few days or few weeks of a little bedroll on the ground. And we walk in with a bed, and we walk in with mattresses, with linens, and a kitchen table, and some pots and pans. We have a rule in our organization, and we have a list of boundaries that our volunteers are supposed to abide by, and one of the things is no physical contact beyond a handshake. And we completely violate that every time we do a drop-off because there are always hugs all around, and sometimes tears. It's very moving, and it's very rewarding. Very best thing that we do by far, for sure.
And I think, Sorrel, for you as well, because you're filming these things, so I'm sure that they're the people are getting excited for you to kind of be there as well. So how does that, when you're filming a moment like that, for me, I film moments like that too, but how does that feel when you get to film and see like a smile and all that kind of stuff on these people's faces?
I think it's amazing to see them excited and happy to see that someone out there cares for them and want to see them do good and do better. So I really cherish that moment. I'm a people person. I really love seeing people happy. So filming that was amazing. There were some times where they would cry and get excited, and I would have to put my camera down or turn it off because I wanted them to enjoy that moment. And I think it was a really, really exciting experience.
And so I wanted to talk about the class for a second, the 118S class. You said that you were working on the video for kind of like a little bit over a couple of months or so. And you're from here. We actually found out we went to high school together, and we've known each other for a while, so it's actually kind of interesting. So I wanted to ask you, because the organization is community-based, you're from here, do you feel like in a way that makes you more passionate when it comes to reviewing footage and all of those kind of things?
Yeah, I definitely feel that the Wings being here from Fresno kind of motivates me, and it's really exciting because, again, I get to help an organization from Fresno, and this is where I was born and raised from, and the fact that they're giving back to the community, and I feel like I'm giving back by helping Wings out.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really, really amazing experience, and I think my group really appreciates that.
And I wanted to talk more about the organization as well. For Wings, I kind of want to talk about the future, kind of see where would you want to expand, and kind of like what the plans would be for the organization.
You know, I think we have a pretty good thing going. I think we've got a well-situated, well-run warehouse. We're getting the word of mouth out more and more about incoming furniture donations. We want to be the go-to phone call when someone in Fresno and Clovis has gently used furniture to donate. What we lack is volunteers, because we just need, we kind of created a moving company on accident, and that takes a lot of muscle and trucks, and those are both difficult and or expensive to find. So I like what we're doing. I think our numbers may vary up and down a little depending on the political climate and the funding of how many homeless people can be housed, how many housing units are out there for families. But if we can just do what we're doing, but do it more efficiently, and be able to keep our volunteers excited and helping us without burning them out. So every bit of word of mouth that gets out there about what we do, maybe someone hears us and says, yeah, I'll give you one Saturday a month. That's all I ask, one Saturday a month. That would really help a lot.
Perfect. And that's what was my next question, was going to talk about volunteers. So the process for that, would they just come in and fill out an application, or how would someone go about wanting to become a volunteer with the Wings advocacy?
Well, it's really, we make it really easy depending on the role you want to take. We do have Saturday hours every Saturday at our warehouse, which is in West Fresno. We're open from 10 to about 2, and that's the thing that's really good for students, especially young people who want to I know young people don't want to commit far in advance, and they've got busy, important things to do in your lives. So if there's a spare Saturday, come on down and we could use some help. We have a website, wingsfresno.org. There is a link there to a survey to fill out to let us know if you're interested, and we'll contact you. And then we have an orientation class that takes place about every 6 weeks or so for new volunteers. We also just take walk-ins on Saturdays at our warehouse, and all that information's on our website.
Oh, perfect. And so when it comes to the volunteering, are they looking for people who can deliver furniture or food, like kind of what are looking for every area, or?
Yeah, you know, for casual volunteers, especially for students or for people in your student demographic, we use those those fit young people to help us lift a couch onto a pickup or something. We don't take any pianos or armoires, so it's nothing too heavy. I personally do a lot of it myself, so it can't be that bad. But we do need young people to help us move items from people's homes into our warehouse. And then there's actually less strenuous work in the warehouse. All sorts of things you could think about in a warehouse that has a bunch of furniture in it. Sorting and organizing, a little light cleaning, changing a light bulb here and there, some tinkering, some fix-it projects. So we have things for all different skills, fitness levels, and interest levels.
And I wanted to ask you too about, like, if I wanted to donate like a couch or a lamp, what are kind of like the criteria? You said gently used and various things like that, but for like a lamp and other things, Are there certain things that have to be only can be brand new, or kind of what's the process like for that?
Thanks, I'm glad you asked. Yes, the main distinction is that we only provide new beds. We learned early on that it's not acceptable to deliver used mattresses. So that's why I fundraise, because we buy new mattresses and frames for every family. We spend about $5,000 a month on mattresses. Other than that, there's a list on our website of items that we can use. And our motto is nobody deserves junk. So if you have something that's gently used and you would send it off to your son Sorrel here when he goes off to college and is filling an apartment, then we'll take it.
That's actually a really good slogan. If you think about it for a second, you're like, oh, nobody likes junk. So I think that's a very interesting. Did you come up with that yourself? Or?
You know what? We actually stole that from a furniture bank in Sacramento area, Furniture for Families. As we were trying to figure out, we didn't even know there was such a thing as a furniture bank when we started this up. So as we were researching it, we went up and visited them, and that's their motto. And we told them we were going to steal it, and they said it was okay. But our families and the clients that we serve have been through trauma, through difficult times, and they're people just like us. And they deserve our respect and our dignity. So yeah, you're right, they don't deserve junk.
Yeah, definitely. And Sorrel, I wanted to I'm going back and forth between the organization, and because it's a collaborative effort. So you had mentioned earlier that you were the producer and kind of things like that. What were the kind of different roles that people in your group had for the video?
Okay, so there was a camera operator, a script writer, someone was in charge of transcribing, and all of us were editors, so we went back and forth editing the project. And there's a total of 5 of us in the group.
And when you say script writer and transcribers, can you go in more detail of what do you mean by that?
Okay, so we would shoot film the interviewees, and we would take the footage back and review it and transcribe it. So write out word from word what they say. That way, when we create the 2-column script, which we would edit from, we would know what pieces to pull out from the video. And it was really helpful.
Right, and so I wanted to ask you too, because speaking of the relationship that you had with Anna, when you were editing the footage or kind of coming up with that vision, I'm assuming that you were working closely with Anna with the footage, correct? To make sure it all kind of worked out accordingly, or?
Yeah, so the way it worked out was we would review the footage, transcribe it, and then create a script, and that script got sent out to Anna, and Anna would approve it. She would say, hey, I like this, maybe try doing this. And so we would constantly get feedback from Anna regarding the script. And
I want to say something about that before you finish.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, you're being kind, Sorrel, but when we started this process, this is new to us, and we had an initial meeting, and the students were asking a bunch of questions, and I said, well, what do you do for a script? And they said, well, do you want to write it? And right then I realized that no, I want to see what they come up with. So it's nice of you to say that I was involved, but they did it all. I corrected a couple factual things when they would send, they need to know titles and facts. But I wanted to see what the students came up with. I know what I think. I live with that stuff all the time. I want to see what a fresh, young group of students has to say. And so that is all them.
And that, just from hearing the relationship, before we went on camera, you guys were talking, and I think that's a great point to make, is that there was a relationship, not it's beyond the video. It's it's about networking and kind of, you have a client and that there's a relationship. So how does that feel for you as a college student, because you're a senior about to graduate in the fall? And what does that feel like for you, that now that you have a client that you can potentially network with in the future after this?
Well, I believe that you should always treat whoever you meet kind, because you never know how they're going to help you in the future. And I think networking with CBO here in Fresno is really cool to get that hands-on experience and to grow as a student and as a professional. and see the organization grow too, and really promote what they're doing is exciting and motivates me to do better and improve my skill sets.
And you had made it just at an interesting point about, you know, being kind to others and that kind of thing. And I think it goes well hand in hand with the organization. And so I wanted to bring up, you know, some people who might be hesitant, or they might kind of get the side eye or the blind eye to someone who's homeless. What would you say to those people, and also the people who might be interested in donating or volunteering to your organization?
I think it's a two-part question, and
Yeah.
quickly I'll just say what I really like about Wings and the really grassroots local nature of our organization is that when you live in a city and you see something that you don't like, then you get to have the ability to change it. And that empowers you. So to me, that takes our citizens of our city and allows them not to complain about it, not to be angry at the guy on the street, not to be angry about what's going on in their neighborhood, but to feel empowered and therefore accept what's going on and work hard to change it. And if you want to donate furniture, check our website or email us at furnishings@wingsfresno.org.
Perfect, perfect. And so we're getting close to the end of our interview, and I think all these questions that I want to come up with. And I want to talk quickly about downtown Fresno, because we were talking about that too earlier. I think a lot of times too, people in Fresno, like we had mentioned earlier, think about the concentration of homelessness as kind of being in that area. What are your thoughts about the revitalization of downtown? I mean, because you're seeing other new things kind of pop up, and what does that, one, mean for the homeless, and two, mean to you to be able to kind of have a new downtown Fresno?
Oh, that's a tricky question, although I'm excited about it. I actually really like downtown Fresno. I live in an area that's, not a little far away. It used to before I used to go down there all the time, it seemed like kind of a commute. I'm down there all the time, so it seems like much more part of the town. It's definitely just easy to get to. I'm very excited. It can only go up from here. There's been a lot of investment, a lot of interest with the new soccer team and the Grizzlies. I think the more we revitalize downtown, the more interest that is downtown, the more maybe corporate and foundation interest will support the infrastructure that helps the homeless get housed. That's what we need, is to get these folks off the streets and into housing. And there are ways that the city can help them do that.
Perfect, perfect. Well, we are out of time for the interview. I really enjoyed having you both in the program, and it means so much. I learned a lot today, so thank you so much both for being here. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, thank you.
Thank you.
We have been speaking with Anna Hecker and Sorrel Mallory with the Wings Advocacy Organization. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Matthew Broughton, and we'll see you next time on Fresno State Serves.